Hello, we'd like to know how to get a green card in the United States? Well, this video is for you. Whether you want a green card for yourself, for your parents, for perhaps an employee, just today's presentation is all about this. My name is Jorge Molina. I am an immigration attorney, and today we're going to be talking about adjustment status or the process of getting a green card in the United States. So, I prepared a presentation for you, and just bear with me. I'm going to share my screen right now. Okay, so here we are. How to get a green card in the United States. Okay, so officially, the name for getting a green card in the United States is known as adjustment of status. That is the process that you go through to get that green card. It is a very common process, and it has three basic requirements. So, requirement number one, that you have a lawful entry into the United States. One. Two, that you have an immigrant visa immediately available to you. And three, that you're not inadmissible. Now, of course, there's always exceptions. You're probably wondering what inadmissibility is. We've done some videos about this, and if you'd like to know more about inadmissibility, you can check those out, or you can check out some of the articles that we also published. But just for our purposes, inadmissibility is a determination that you're not allowed into the United States, or you're not allowed to adjust status in the United States because you either committed a crime, an immigration violation, or you have some other issue in your case that you're not allowed to become a lawful resident of the United States. But so again, there's also exceptions as to who would qualify for a green card. So I'm saying that the first requirement is having lawful entry. There's some cases, especially those under 245I, that even if you don't have a lawful entry, there might be an exception that applies. But generally speaking, those are the three requirements. Again, we're not discussing everything you need to know about adjustment status, but giving you a general idea of who would qualify for a green card in the United States. There's also other important limitations. So, generally speaking, you must also have valid status, meaning a lawful immigration status in the United States, never have worked in the United States illegally, and not fall within certain categories. So individuals that enter the United States as a fiancé can only get a green card, generally speaking, as an adjustment status of a fiancé petition. And there's some other limitations. But again, for every limitation, there's an exception. And in some cases, so for example, if you're adjusting status through a U.S. citizen spouse or U.S. citizen child, you're eligible for a green card even if you don't have lawful status in the United States. Right? So that's just one of many exceptions. Every case is different. But again, the purpose of this presentation is just to give you a brief look at the process itself. So, one of the requirements is to have an immigrant visa immediately available to you. So, these could be petitions filed by a family member, by an employer, or perhaps you're in a special category. For example, you are an former Afghani collaborator of the United States in Afghanistan, and then you're in the United States. There's a special category for you that applies. Or if you receive asylum in the United States, along with other categories. So Again, getting a green card depends on having that visa immediately available to you. So, you know, so let's say you satisfy all the requirements. What do you do next? What do you do next, right? So you have a lawful entry, you have an immediate, you have a visa immediately available for you, and third, you're not disqualified for applying for a green card. So what do you do? Well, first, make sure you're eligible, right? That you meet all these requirements. Second, you must complete a form. So to get a green card in the United States, you must file Form I-485 with the corresponding fee. Usually for people over 18 years old, the fee is about $1,225, and then depending on whether you need to submit a immigrant petition or a family petition or something like that, there might be other fees related to that. But ideally, you submit your application for the green card with everything in there, so they don't send your packet back or they don't ask you for more evidence in the future. And you submit it to immigration, you fill out the forms, whether you need an affidavit of support if you're filing for an immigrant petition, or a labor certification if you're doing it through an employer. Make sure everything's completed. After you submit that, approximately about 30 days, you're going to get a notification at a minimum by mail. If you also submit Form 1145, you should get a text message or an email saying that, hey, we received your application, it's currently processing. After you get those receipts, in about 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to get a notification that you also need to submit fingerprints, a photograph, and a signature, collectively known as biometrics, at a Citizenship and Immigration Services support center. So after you do that, they continue processing your case, and then you wait. Now, the wait really depends on your category. So how are you adjusting status? So in this jurisdiction, in Dallas-Fort Worth, we're seeing that applications, for example, for adjustment of status for people that have been given asylum are taking over a year to process. In some cases, family-based petitions, let's say a daughter is petitioning for a mother, there's no major criminal issues, it's not a very complex case. Those cases are taking about 8 months currently. Again, that's subject to change. We're hoping that things speed up, but that's what we're seeing right now. Then, after your case is processed, they send it to your local office. It is up to immigration to request an interview. So we're seeing increasingly that Citizenship and Immigration Services is waiving the interview requirements. We hope that this trend continues, but it's really up to the discretion of CIS. So in most cases, they do schedule the interview. You must go to the interview. There, very nice, mostly nice immigration officers will ask you questions about the underlying immigrant petition, if it's pending with the packet or if it was decided recently. And they're also going to review your application. They're going to go over all your biographical information and the security questions, and you're going to do all of this under oath. After your interview, you wait for the resolution of the case, for approval of the case. If there's something missing, immigration is going to send you a letter saying that they are missing something, or that you forgot to mention something else. And if they need more evidence or documents, they're going to ask for those. And then ideally, your case is approved right after that. So the third element was, how can I determine if I am inadmissible before I even file, right? So the best thing to do is consult a qualified immigration attorney. This person can tell you if the crime you committed is indeed a ground of inadmissibility, and if it is, if there's a waiver available for you. And then we can also assess whether you have a good chance for a waiver, or if you even need a waiver in the first place. Again, we did a whole series on inadmissibility. Check those presentations out for very useful information. And thank you. Now, folks, I know this was a very general presentation. We covered a lot of grounds. Every case is different. For every prohibition, there's usually an exception. So if you have any doubts, call us, or you can send us an email at info@jmolinalawfirm.com. Again, info@jmolinalawfirm.com, or you can call our office at 469-708-5800. We take cases from all over the United States, and we'll be happy to take yours if we can help you. Again, my name is Jorge Molina. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.